My name's Emily Johnson, and I was, just your average mom trying to keep it all together. We live in Naperville, a quiet suburb about 40 minutes out from Chicago. My husband, Tom, works as a stockbroker downtown, and I hold down the fort with the kids. Sophie, she's 12, and Ben, he's 9. It was April 2025, and the country was a mess. Trump was back in charge, slapping tariffs on anything crossing the border, 20% on Mexico, 25% on Asia. Even Canadian bacon got hit hard. Gas prices shot up, grocery runs turned into a nightmare, and our savings started drying up fast. That night, I was in the kitchen, the smell of mac and cheese hanging in the air, while Tom sat in the living room, staring at his laptop, his face washed out in the screen's glow. I was scrubbing dishes, the rough sponge scraping against the plates, when Tom mumbled something from the couch. "Market's down again," he said, his voice scratchy, like he'd swallowed gravel. I wiped my hands on the dish towel, the damp fabric cold against my skin, and walked over. The screen was a sea of red. The Dow had tanked 600 points, third day in a row. "It's the tariffs," he said, rubbing his eyes. "Companies can't keep up." The air in the house felt thick, heavy with that musty smell creeping up from the basement. We hadn't fixed the leak since winter. Sophie was up in her room, earbuds buzzing with some teen podcast, and Ben was on the rug with his Legos, the little pieces clicking together like tiny bones snapping into place. I forced a smile, said it'd be okay, but my gut was telling me something else. That week, things got worse. Tom started coming home late, his suit jacket wrinkled and smelling like sweat and stale coffee. He said clients were freaking out. The tariffs had trashed supply chains, and the market was a total circus. I'd hear the news blaring in the living room, the anchor going on about an impending collapse, while I folded laundry on the couch, the rough cotton of the kids' t-shirts brushing my fingers. Then the phone rang. It was the bank. "Mrs. Johnson, your account's in the red," the voice said, flat as a sheet of paper. I hung up, the plastic handset warm in my grip, and pulled up our online statement. The balance was 0. "System glitch," Tom said when I told him. But his eyes were sunken, red from sleepless nights. The house felt colder, the heater's hum struggling to keep up. I could feel it, the market, sneaking into our lives, like a shadow we couldn't see but was everywhere. Friday rolled around, and I was home alone. The kids were at school, Sophie with her backpack stuffed with books, Ben in his too small Cubs jacket. Tom was at the office, trying to salvage whatever was left of his clients. I sat at the kitchen table, the wooden top sticky with spilled juice, and opened the laptop to check our accounts. The bank site loaded, but the numbers were all wrong. Our balance kept shifting with every click, dropping from $50 to negative $200, then negative $1,000. My heart started racing, the wind howling outside like some kind of mournful cry. Then I heard it, a low murmur coming from the laptop. It wasn't a clear voice, just a muffled hum, like a crowd talking all at once, trapped in static. I slammed the lid shut, the plastic cold against my palms, but the sound kept going, echoing through the kitchen. The musty smell got stronger, mixing with something sour, like milk gone bad in the fridge. I glanced at the clock, 3 p.m., but the light outside looked off, gray and lifeless, like the day had just given up. Tom got home at 6, his face as gray as the sky. "I lost it all," he said, tossing the laptop onto the table. The market had crashed for good. The tariffs had broken companies left and right, and the U.S. was sinking into a crisis nobody saw coming. He sank into the couch, the springs creaking under him, staring into space. I heard that murmur again, this time from the unplugged TV, a sound that almost whispered our names. Emily, Tom, but so faint I could pretend it was just the wind. Sophie came downstairs, the worn carpet squeaking under her sneakers. "Why is it so quiet?" she asked, her eyes wide and nervous. Ben ran in after her, the smell of wet dirt clinging to his jacket. I tried to explain. The money's gone. The market's gone. But the words stuck in my throat. The air in the house was thick, like we were breathing invisible smoke, and the heater's hum cut out all of a sudden, leaving nothing but silence. I went back to the laptop, my hands shaking as I opened the bank site again. A new message popped up. Account closed, Johnson family. The murmur got louder, spilling out of the speakers, the walls, the floor. You lost, like a chorus I couldn't shut off. Tom grabbed the laptop and hurled it against the wall, the plastic cracking with a sharp snap, but the sound didn't stop. I looked at the kids. Sophie hugging Ben on the couch, both of them huddled like something was lurking nearby. The sour smell turned rotten, like spoiled food, filling the house. The phone rang again. The bank, or maybe a debt collector, I don't know. I didn't pick up. The wind slammed against the windows, the curtains swaying like hands reaching in. I could feel the market closing in, the numbers swallowing us, our lives falling apart piece by piece. The next day, we packed what we could, clothes, a few of the kids' toys, and headed to my mom's place in Peoria. The TV was still on as we left, the news droning about a historic crisis and national bankruptcy. The bank took the house a week later, the furniture left behind like ghosts of who we used to be. Now we're in a cramped apartment. Tom's got a job at a hardware store, and I pick up shifts as a cashier. But every time I see a bank statement or hear a keyboard clacking, that rotten smell creeps back, and I swear I hear the market whispering my name.
That's it for today, folks. This story's all fiction, okay? Any resemblance to real life is just a coincidence. Or maybe not. If it gave you chills, don't just sit there. Hit that like button if you felt the creep. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one sneaking up on you, and drop a comment below. Ever felt the numbers haunting you like that? Ring the bell too. Trust me, you'll want to know when the market strikes again. Stay safe out there. Catch you next time.